So, although the poem I will be sharing with you tonight is about us, my poetry, I must admit, never began for the collective we. I must admit that although tonight I will be talking about how we must seek to understand one another and make connections, I began poetry simply because I couldn't understand the large, confusing, and complex moments that surrounded me. My words became an outlet of sorts for me by which I could release this pent-up confusion on a page, and it turns out I really enjoyed it. Before I knew it, words were spurring out of me. I found words that carried texture, color, words that I was able to see. I realized that everything I'm able to see in these words, others must be able to see too, and that's when my poems started to connect me to others. The poem I wrote for tonight is called Not Too Far. It goes, God gave us night so we might gaze into this effortlessly crafted universe that lay around us in naked form. There we may realize how far we reach, and how, if we reach far enough, we may reach the stars. Why, if I climbed upon my roof, I would have brushed fingers with this lonesome moon, who feels so out of place in a constellation of stars, so much like me, so much so that it is unusual for these oddballs to be too far apart. And if I clambered my way above, dusty roof after dusty chimney, past dusty pairs of shoes that lay on this dusty ground, with their dusty clothes, donned in the finest robes of misuse, abuse, no use at all. If I climbed my way through the atmosphere, surely my fingers could find the farthest planet, which, though it may look distant, is still not very far. If I would reach my pinky up and let the universe kiss my cheek and burn my fingers to ashes with stardust, I'd realize something. I think if we held up our arms to experience the pain and burn our skin, what we suddenly realize is that we're not very far. We're never very far. So if one must penetrate the clouds to reach the expansive universe above, let him do so without a ladder, because those stars were never really that far. Although, I must say, I've never reached those stars myself. But I still assure you, they're never too far, you see. They never really are too far. Every one of us, whether we realize it or not, desires to reach the stars, and sometimes we get hopeless or confused. We wonder if those stars are just impossibly distant and think that these seemingly infinite cosmos will never allow us to even get close enough to graze our pinky finger. Those stars, for each of us, mean something different. For some, those stars mean a dream or yearning that's been burning within us for years. For others, it's a relationship we desire to reach but can't have. For others, it's freedom from what could very easily be considered mankind's worst enemy, the mind. But this dream, be it known or unknown, acknowledged or unacknowledged, lives within us. I'd like to bring the example of one of my favorite novels, The Great Gatsby, which revolves around the character of Gatsby, the dream that he had of spending his life with the woman who he loves. In the book, there is a green light, which could possibly be a symbol of Gatsby's love for this woman or his dream. And he realized that his dream was never very far. He also acknowledged that the dream that he had could possibly never be reached. That didn't ever stop him. Similarly, I believe that if we open our arms and make a dream or desire within our hearts to understand one another, we will once more realize that what we are striving to achieve is closer than we might expect. Glancing over at the people who surround you and acknowledging the differences in our skins is all right. Those skins are a part of us all, and they shape our identities. But remember that although we may seem distant from one another, we are never quite too different. You see, you and I, we truly aren't very far. We never were very far to begin with. Woo!